Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by. So it's Saturday morning here. I just made a couple of videos and some folks are noticing a change in my tone. This morning, I'd just like to talk a bit about that and help you guys understand my motivations, what keeps me going, why I started this. So I'm gonna talk a bit about some things and tell a story here, but then we're also gonna just touch on this. We're gonna make a much bigger video on things like this and value in the market and what you guys are getting. I've had a lot of interactions with every aspect of this industry, and I've come to some greater understandings. And a lot of these things are just repugnant to me, and we're gonna talk about it. But this morning, I just want to share what motivates me, what drives me, where I'm coming from, I guess. So jumping right into it, I'm just gonna tell you a short story here. Before this happened, I was selling off all of my stuff, and I had left my job, and just this happened kind of by accident, but I was picking out sea kayaks and was just gonna go out in the Chesapeake Bay and down the Intracoastal Waterway and see where life takes me. I'm kind of a free spirit. I don't really conform to societal norms, and I don't need society, and especially this giant business, this corporation we live in. I find it to be disgusting most times when I look around at the world in front of me. So just preferring my personal peace, I was just gonna go see where that took me and just see what I bumped into in life. Due to my childhood and my personality, I'm realizing that I'm built a little different. There's things when I tell things from my childhood where I think I'm telling a funny story, there's people who look at me with pity, or I've had people just give me a hug where I think I'm telling something funny, and I realize that my childhood circumstances weren't normal, and that's changed my outlook on everything. I very much understand that I'm just a nervous system riding around in a bone mech for a little bit, and I'm gonna be gone soon. We're all here for a bit and we're gone. We're here for like 5 minutes. And I have a different outlook than most people. I don't really care about chasing material things. That doesn't motivate me, it doesn't excite me. And as much as possible, I try to opt out of those things because I see it for the control mechanisms they are, and I don't think we're here to just generate capital for a life. So when this started, it was on a dare, and it's just been a learning journey, and I've learned a lot along the way. And due to my personality, anything I take on, anybody who knows me knows that I go to 11 with everything. I try to do the very best I can. I want to be the best, or at least the best I can be at everything I set out to do. And I think that in this world, I'm noticing that I saw a great quote last night that too many people are focused on success, and we don't have any focus on being valuable. And that's part of what this conversation is gonna be. So, when you see me, this is just me. We're not extravagant people here. I drive a used Subaru. This is a couple-year-old Walmart shirt. These are $10 Costco pants. I've had some New Balance on that have a hole in the toe for like a year. I just don't care because this is just my biological circumstance, and I just don't care, and when recently I've been just evaluating since my grandmother passed. For you guys who don't know, when I talk about my grandmother, she wasn't my grandmother. She's been the only constant in my life. She's the only mother I ever had, and really the only family I ever had. She was my entire support system growing up. So losing her, something snapped in me recently, and I'm realizing there's things that I can and cannot abide by in my life. And if I can't abide by it, I'm not gonna tolerate it anymore. So when I look at the last few years of my life and the things that I've sacrificed chasing this, when my father passed, I didn't have the means to fly back east at the time, or to get back east. I couldn't take the time off work to even go to his funeral. I've missed so many family things, and I don't spend enough time with my wife. We don't really take any meaningful time off. And as I look back at those things, I'm seeing these reasons, and I'm just done, and I'm talking about it. And when I started to talk about these steel issues and stuff, I see that for what it is now, and I'm not going to allow that to continue happening. You know, these CEOs sit behind these desks and they have all the empathy and consideration of a daggone shark. And I'm just going to be transparent about it, because the only thing they really care about is money, is capital, protecting capital. So if you want to protect your capital now, we're going to talk about the quality of the things that you put out. And anybody that's falling short or doing like shitbag things, we're going to talk about it, because this affects regular people. It affects our quality. It affects my sanity. You know, I've been fighting harder and harder to keep up with these things, and we're getting caught up, but oh my God, I've given up so much. And as I watched my grandmother in her last days, the last day, you know, she went to sleep at the end of our visit, and I knew I was never going to talk to her again. And early the next morning, I realized she'd passed, and that affected me deeply, because these last few years, I don't feel that I spent as much time with her as I should have. I've given too much to this. And at the end of her life, I realized all the things she was proud of in her life, the work, these accomplishments, all these just superficial things, they didn't matter. It was how much time we spent together. It was her feeling loved and accepted as a human being, and knowing that she provided value to the people around her. And that's very much what motivates me. And to reflect on some of these things since her passing, I'm done. You know, we're just, like I said, you're getting my genuine self, and we're going to talk about everything. So just know that, you know, we're not extravagant people. We don't have big things. You know, like I said, we have a used Subaru, and I'm happy with this. I'm great with this. I don't care. I just want to provide value and make a fair living so that I can carve out some meager existence, and that's great for me. But you know, as I look at these things in the marketing entities, I'm just going to touch on this real quick. We're going to talk a lot more about dealers and all this stuff in an upcoming video. But when I look at this, if you watched our edge test abuse video, I broke this in there because I just didn't care about it. I traded this with Aaron from Northwest Knives. This is a bailout in M4, and I'm mad because I traded one of these knives that I know performs for this daggone thing that doesn't hold an edge. Ellie just reminded me this morning, like I bitch about this thing every time I open it up and use it, because it always seems to be dull, and I feel almost like it's getting dull in my pocket. And this is like my third one of these, and you know, I've had various brands. There's things I do and don't like about things, but when I look at this, I looked this up just to verify the information before I talk about this real quick. So this has an MSRP of $300, and they have a minimum advertised price of $270. I'm going to demystify this one real quick because I know about it. So just so you know, these dealers are going to tell you that whatever they can sell the most of or get the most of and get out into the world to make the most capital, they're going to tell you that's the best. So when you look at one of these Benchmades, you know, this is a $300 knife, street price of $270. What the dealers don't tell you, you know, they tell you they love the knives, but what they love about it is they're almost a 100% markup. So when you look at dealer pricing on these things, these cost dealers $150. So at a minimum, they're gonna make $120 on this. And if they can get you at the MSRP, they're doubling their money. You know, they say, you know, it's a 50-point margin. Okay, well, let's look at that differently. That's a 100% markup. So when I look at this $200 or $270 knife, the dealers are getting it for $150. So now we're going to come back to value. I know Benchmade ain't losing money. If that's their policy on the dealer side of it, I'm assuming they're making at least 50 points or a 100% margin. So now is this, you know, a $75 knife? Because they have to be profitable. You know, so how much effort and value is actually going in this for the dollars you're spending? Because to me, this feels like a $90 or $100 knife, where what I'm trying to do is put more value into it and split the difference so that I get a fair margin for my work, and I can keep investing in things, hiring people, and moving forward in what I feel is an ethical way, instead of, you know, having to come up to this slop trough and feel like a real piece of shit, knowing that you guys are paying something crazy here, but I only put this much effort into it. And that drives me insane. So I don't mean to throw them under the bus, but I think that it's not providing value to society, and you're spending way too many dollars on stuff like this. And, that's where I just didn't feel bad. It didn't do the things for me, and I didn't have it, feel like a pleasure to use, or that the amount of time I put into it sharpening it, I didn't get the value out of it in use. So I just don't care. It provides me no value. So until we get our folders going, I think as soon as she's are done for these EDC3s, I'm just going to EDC a fixed blade and do that until we can get into folders, or maybe one of you guys can let me know who actually brings the bang. I used to like Spyderco for their heat treat, but I don't like the delicateness of them. The tips always break off. When I was a delivery driver, I broke like 3 or 4 of those things, and just that wasn't worth it. And more recently I've heard some things about the heat treat quality. So I don't know, and I don't want to just keep being mad at stuff. So I'm just going to hang out, use a fixed blade, and whatever. I'll get a folder one day, I hope. So just know, I'm going to do more of these addresses with you guys from time to time, and just be a human being with you, because there's things we need to talk about along the way, and we're going to start peeling back all the layers on this stuff, so you guys start understanding what value you are or are not getting. And if people fall short, let's just all collectively call them to account. I really mean this stuff, and I'm not here to become the next Benchmade or anything. I want to know my lane and know that I'm providing value to society, so that when you guys get your stuff, I feel good at night. Just sharing all of this stuff, I slept so well last night, and I know that every time I can be transparent, I sleep a little better, I think a little more clearly, and it's just good for my mental health. So, I'm done just being a bulletproof vest for these companies and having these misplaced loyalties to try and preserve relationships where that's not reciprocal. So we're going to talk about it. I don't care. We're going to be genuine in this and provide real damn value, or I don't want to do this. I'm happy to go back to my kayak plan. That's, other than the ocean's all polluted and screwed up now, like that's the more interesting life plan for me. But I'm committed to this now, and that I've learned so much. We're really damn good at it. And it's a compulsion for me. I have to do the best job possible. And when I see things like this with these materials, that's counter to my goals. So instead of quietly eating it and just having this rottenness inside of me, we're going to talk about it. And I hope you guys start to understand what motivates me and what I'm trying to do here. So anyway, I'm going to get to some surface finishing here, but we're going to have lots of updates. And I'm just going to, in kind of batches, periodically, I don't know how we're going to do it yet, but I want to bring you in to show you what we're doing and what it takes to do all of this, because it doesn't bother me that other companies and stuff see this, because they still have to do the work. And looking at my interactions with Millet and these different companies, they're just not willing to really do the work anyway. And you still have to do the damn work. You can know everything, but it's hard work, and you have to put the time in. And I'm willing to, just with my childhood damage, my personality, I'm willing to do that. I'll rickroll myself so you guys get a nicer thing. If things don't work out on my end, if you look at some of our struggles, the only thing we've had is delays, because I've internalized all the problems here. And I think that, all the companies and stuff, if you're providing a service, internalize your problems. Don't pass the buck on to the next people and make it their problem. We've internalized this stuff, and it's caused me pain and forced me to figure out better, more efficient ways to do things. And that's where I say, when I've got Böhler Uddeholm stuff already through heat treat and catching up to this stuff, because it's so much easier to work with. I've learned to work with these things, so that stuff's amazing. So we're going to keep talking about that, and I'm going to visually show you some of the differences in these materials. And that's not to say that they're always doing a bad job up at Crucible and Niagara. I have batches of stuff that are great, so I know they can do the work, and I'm going to show you that, because sometimes the stuff's really consistent, it's beautiful, but the other times it's a nightmare. And they act like they're always here and not accepting the fact that they're down here sometimes. And they're charging industry-leading prices for this stuff. When you look at the Böhler Uddeholm prices, they're landing a better material to the US when they've got to deal with all the overseas distribution and landing it here, and they're being competitive with this company. And okay, so who's doing the better job? Who is bringing the real value to society? And that's what I want to talk about. And we're just going to start talking about everything. So anyway, I've tied a really long tail on this, but stop back often. We're just going to do a lot of shop updates and just bring you in here. I'm going to start sharing information. I'm a child of the 80s and 90s, and you know, we didn't have the internet, social media, cell phones, and I don't really need all that. I don't find any value in it, and coming up without it, I'm realizing that it's just the new QVC. It's all fake, and it's driving me crazy. So we're going to talk about all of it. And you know, I'm going to sign off with this old video. I saw this back in the day on TV overnight, and it's always stuck with me about how these marketing entities are. And you know, when I see some reviewers and stuff, it's all disingenuous. It seems like all marketing rollouts and stuff and creating this perception of value instead of actually using it. If anybody gives me a review, I want to know that you've used it and that you're happy with it. Even in the DBK video, it was very critical to me that they gave me good, you know, these critical feedbacks. If they say something nice, I want to know that it's genuine. And those guys, I could see it in their face that they were happy with it, that it was a genuine experience. And I mean, you can't fake hammering through an aluminum pan and bone and stuff, but you know, when I look at a lot of these reviewers, they unbox a thing and look like they cut a piece of paper and tell you where to go buy it. And you know, I'm looking for anybody out there that's providing genuine content. Back in the day, I think it was Jeff Martin Survival. He wasn't a big selling platform, but he would go out in the high desert and use our knives and just use them and give information along the way. And I enjoyed watching that, just to see a guy out giving intelligent information on bushcrafting and different things, and just to share a positive experience if you like something. And I want to find people like that. I want to know that you use it for a couple of months or a year, that you vetted it, you really like it, instead of just this quick marketing thing and then just aiming you at where to go buy it. And we're going to talk about all this because I see it for what it is, and I think it's disgusting, and it leads into like larger societal problems. And this whole country just feels like a damn business, an extraction mechanism. And you know, everyone's focused on success and not providing value. And we're here to just peel the wool back on that. So anyway, I'll talk to you again soon, and have a great day, okay?
1101 1816 is the item number on this one. And the nice thing about these practice katanas, oh, that hurt. Oh, that hurt big time. A piece of that the tip just got me, Odell. Oh, that got me good.
You all right?
A piece of that tip just got me. Oh,
folks, right now, we may need emergency surgery in the studio.